WF representing Palace, so let's tell you about Palace. Rolling straight to the ceiling, crowns and crystals, top like journeys, dishing out malice. Hold up, South London's grandest, far from bandits. Anything earned for a goal of elevation, just passing the team over here might finish like bright future, we can't vanish. SE25 any day, that's sellers. Rev up the engines, no more reverse reactions, fan cams, bands on stream. Share up the team, support the dream team when Eagles fly, make noise and scheme. Dare to dream or dream to dare, taking a step to become supreme.
Good evening. The Premier League is back, and boy, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, normally our match previews are 7:30. The idiot that I am went and had it booked for 7:30, then realized there's a game at 8 o'clock. What am I doing? So we have pushed it earlier, but big up to all of you. Obviously, welcome back to this new season. JC, how's it going?
I'm good. The third kit has been released, and that's another £120 leaving my bank account. I'll say that. Swift.
It is a good one.
I'm happy that football's back, though. I'm happy that we're back at Selhurst again, going back to football again.
No, 100%. And a massive thank you to our guest Craig from the Ealing Road podcast. I was going to say Ealing Park for some reason. Ealing Road podcast for jumping in. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. I'm glad that we're all back in doing what we enjoy doing, and hopefully can start the season off right with a Fulham loss this evening.
That's a good shout, actually. We need as many teams down there as possible. 100%. Guys, obviously, smash the like button on the way in and on the way out if you have done so already. Subscribe if you're new. We have put the Ealing Road podcast description in the title and in the description, so it should be easy to find. Please give them a click and subscribe to their channel as well. And Craig, we're going to start off with you. We like to start off with our guests. Talk through, obviously, there's a few things with Brentford. Pre-season, the Tony drama. I'm hearing Wissa could be on his way out. Where's your club at the moment?
We're in a bit of a kind of a stop between rock and a hard place kind of situation at the minute, where if we get rid of Wissa, it means we've got to keep Tony. If we get rid of Tony, it means we've got to keep Wissa. So would you rather keep someone that's going to bag you a lot of goals but might not really show the club the greatest amount of respect? Or would you rather keep someone that seems to love the club but, you know, is a bit hot and cold and isn't too consistent? It's a bit of a difficult situation, but we've had an up and down pre-season. Every time we go forward, we look like scoring. Every time the other team comes forward, they look like scoring. So it's definitely something we've got to work on this season.
And on that pre-season, though, with obviously the Wissa and the Tony dilemma at the moment, has that affected how you've played in the sense of, like, has Tony been able to come straight back in, or is he being bedded in because obviously his Euros venture? Yeah. What's it been like for you? Has it made it unsettled as well in that sense?
No, not really unsettled. Not much has kind of changed in that aspect. I mean, there was a really good video that the club put out recently where it was Ivan coming back from the Euros, and he steps into the gym, and all of the players and the staff there applauding him for his efforts at the Euros, and it was really good to see what looked like this really good team spirit, which he was still part of. So, no, I don't think there's been any problems like that. He's only played two games in pre-season, which was Wolfsburg and I want to say Watford, but I could be wrong. But he looks sharp, he looks good, and Thomas Frank has said that he's going to be part of the matchday squad this weekend. So let's hope that he kicks off where he finished, although he didn't finish the season so sprightly, that's for sure.
When you say matchday squad, are you telling me there's a chance he may not start?
Well, I suppose it depends if him and Wissa are our players come Sunday. Do you know what I mean? So I think
they could actually both go before then.
Oh well, knowing Brentford, mate, anything could happen. Knowing Brentford, anything could happen. I imagine if Ivan is fit, then he will start on Sunday. But he only started the Watford and the Wolfsburg game in pre-season. Someone may correct me on the Watford game.
Fair. I mean, had there been any other sign about you did sign Carvalho from Liverpool? Is it Thiago, your striker, who's come up with an unfortunate injury?
Yeah, so we bought him we actually bought him for this summer back in January, but he stayed at Bruges for the second half of the season. He wasn't on loan, but he actually his contract didn't take effect until I believe June 1st or whenever the contracts change. He come in, and then we beat Wimbledon 4-1 or 4-2 in a preseason friendly. He started, he bagged 2 goals, and he tore his meniscus. So that's one way to start, isn't it? But it seemed that he came into Brentford with a slight injury, and we've given him that game, and unfortunately he's come out worse. And now we've got a situation where we can't sell the player that we bought the player in to replace, which means Ivan Toney is now going to have to replace the player that we bought in to replace Ivan Toney, which is one kind of situation as well.
And I'm sure, obviously, just looking at Tony's situation, he's going to be professional about it up until the time if he goes. We're hoping. But for you personally, with everything that's happened with him, you've got the social media thing where he said, it's before watershed, we won't repeat what he said there. You then had the betting scandal. You stuck by him. Then he had a Sky interview about him wanting to move on to bigger. So there's been a lot going on with him.
Yeah.
Where are you personally at with Ivan Toney? Would you just rather say get rid of him, get the money, and move on, or?
So if he hadn't had this betting incident where he's been banned for 8 months, if could have cashed in on him that summer and taken £100 million for him, which is what we'd set the asking price at, I would have taken it. I would have snatched it off them every day of the week. Now, I think that we're still sort of suffering at the back end of injury problems that we had last season, that keeping him in the squad is probably more important at the moment than it is to sell him for, I don't know, the 40, 45 million we might get him from with 1 year left on his contract. So he splits decisions. Fan base. He split the entire fan base. So some people want to see the back of him, never want to see him wear a Brentford shirt again. Other people know that on his day, he's England's number 2 striker. Do you know what I mean? Behind Harry Kane, he's a fantastic player.
Sure. JC, we'll hit a few comments if there are any, and we'll talk Palace and Glasner's presser as well, which was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Big up chairman. He was sitting there watching the stream that Rich was on previously. And then big up Nordine with all the eagle emojis, as she normally does, or they, or him. Whoever he do these days. But that's it, man. Not many comments today. I think everyone's gearing up for the game. That's why.
They're gearing up for the game, yeah.
No one's viewing right now.
Right, JC, how are you feeling about today's game, Sunday's game, with everything that's happened with Palace? Jez has now gone to Sheffield United on loan. There's rumours left, right, and centre about our players leaving. I'm hearing that Maxence Lacroix has agreed terms with us now. So there's so much going on.
I mean, I'm just excited that football's back. And I think that if you look at the end of last season and you look at now, you have to say that, granted, Michael was in the team. He was a big factor of our success, and he's not here anymore. But I think what some people are forgetting is that Mark didn't actually play in any of the games. He only played the last game of the season. And I think a lot of people are forgetting that. And even when he played in the last game of the season, he played in midfield. He didn't even play at centre-back. So I think defensively, I'm not really too concerned. I think maybe strengthening up front a little bit more probably would have been what I would have liked us to do. Obviously, Ismail Sarr's a good player, but it's one thing going from Michael Elise, who I think all of us here could say that he's already a world-class player, and then he's leaving to go to Bayern Munich now. So really, if you lose a world-class player in any team in the world, you're going to feel the pain a bit. And obviously, I think most people are hoping that we'd spend a little bit more money on I guess, on a replacement. But Ismail Sarr has been wanted by Dougie Freedman for how long? And I think the fact he's finally got his man, maybe we could actually see what Dougie's seeing him. And Dougie don't miss. I think that's one thing we need to remember as well. Dougie doesn't miss. So, all in all, happy that football's back. If Mark goes, it's really not the end of the world. Because if Mark does go, you could replace him with Lacroix and with the new money that's apparently there. If we're asking 70 million, let's say we get 70 million. Lacroix is apparently going to cost 25. What we're going to do with the rest of the money? We've got 45 million pounds more to spend, and we haven't even spent the 50 that we came from Elise. So we're going to come out of this transfer window with, granted, a worse starting 11, but our squad is going to be so much better, and we're going to be in profit.
No, absolutely. I think obviously, like when you look at the grander scheme of things with losing Elise, I think the natural thing was everyone wanted, including me, a left-footed attacker in that position, you know. But just seeing Daichi Kamada and the way he operates, I think once he understands his position with Munoz down the right-hand side, he's gonna be one hell of a player for us, to be honest. And that's what we're hoping for. That is what we're hoping for. Craig, have you seen much of our preseason or any news? I'm not saying that you have to, by the way.
To be fair, lads, I haven't seen much of Brentford's preseason. So I did go out to Benfica for Brentford's preseason game in Lisbon, which was a great experience. But no, if I'm being honest, ever since the Euros and the Olympics, I've sort of missed out on a lot of preseason games that have happened here and there. You hear about certain results where City and Chelsea are losing in the States to Celtic and whatnot. But sorry, no, I probably should have done a bit more of my research before I come here.
No, that's all good. Is that me?
It's coming through Craig's mic, I think.
Oh, okay. Like I know I was echoing before. But even with that in mind, like I watched your one, it was just the highlights of it against Wolfsburg. And going forward, you're not frightening. I have to admit, going forward, you are it's scary. You know, and Buemo looks like he's back at it, because I know he had a bad injury last season.
Yeah.
You know, Tony, I don't know if he started the game, but he's coming on, he's taking shots from like 40 yards. Just like, yeah, I can do this sort of thing. But then defensively, it seems like set pieces is the big issue with you guys. Granted, we can't score from a corner. Is that something that was just a one-off blip, or is that a concern for you guys?
That is not a one-off blip. That is absolutely not a one-off blip. That was part of our problem last season. We conceded so many goals from set pieces and crosses in general from deep crosses anyway. I remember Palace away last season, we went 1-0 up inside like first 65 seconds, 85 seconds, whatever it was. Elise absolutely dissects the midfield and put ones in the bottom corner, and 2 balls to the back post wins you the game 3-1. It was something which was prevalent throughout our entire season last year. We just couldn't deal with that, and we haven't sort of solidified that defense in any way. We've still got Rico Henry out injured. We've still got Aaron Hickey out injured. We've got Ben Mee just come back from injury. We haven't solidified our defense in this window in the way all Brentford fans wanted us to do. So it is a concern for us going into this season, having that lack of defensive cover. And that is exactly kind of what I expect to happen throughout the season. Again, if we can't figure it out over the next 2 weeks, what we're going to do defensively, that was so obvious against Wolfsburg. And funnily enough, you're signing Lacroix, and he scored one of those back post volleys against us that Friday as well.
Yeah, we haven't signed him yet, but I think if Mark was to go, he's the player that we're looking at. So as latest reports are that terms have been agreed. I'm going to go and double check that. You know, can't source everything from Twitter. You know, even like Ornstein, who we used to think, yes, he's a reliable one. All he's giving us is bad news.
It's the there we land kid now. He's the one that's giving it all, isn't it?
You know what? I'm loving it for him, man. At such a young age, just wanting to just get out.
He's going to put Fab out of business because he can't stop getting stuff wrong for us.
There we land.
He hasn't put a single tweet out about Palace in the last 3 years, which has been correct. Not one. They've all been wrong.
Exactly that. And, you know, for those out there, like, go and get your brand. Do what you've got to do. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people like, who's this guy? He's a fake guy. But just let the kid live, man. just let him do it, man.
Let him do it.
You know, I have seen some meme ones though. I think dare I circumcise or something. I've heard some
crazy ones, yeah.
Nah, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say this. You know when Tommy Fury and Molly May broke up. Someone tweeted at Bobby Manzi, "Is this true?" And Bobby Manzi went, Craig. Bobby Manzi is like one of them journalists which only covers Palace, basically.
Right. Okay.
So a very reliable guy when it comes to Palace. And then Bobby Manzi said, "There we land." And then I thought I cooked because I replied saying, "There she goes," but no one liked it.
There we go. There's a few more comments, JC. We'll go through them.
Big up Fish Star. Don't think we've seen you before. Made a bet at my local pub today that Palace will finish above Forest. I think your money's
That's a good bet.
Brother. I think your
money's
money's
that's because Forest are finishing rock bottom this season.
Big up Kevin. Getting the vibe that Mark Gay isn't going, but need injury cover. So we don't end up with Wardy at centre back again. Klein, you forget about Klein. Klein did sick at centre back. To be fair, I'm not gonna lie.
He did.
We seem to have our equivalent of Wardy as well. Zanka, who was the one that played about 30 games for us last season, but was only supposed to step in. He was caught out so many times, and he's just been sent out on loan to Anderlecht. So good luck to them.
Big up says Lacroix and Nordine with pure emojis once again.
Right, Craig. I think it's time to go through your combined 11. Now, what I was going to have that as an image, but then I thought, no, that's going to look mad and messy because it's going to cut everyone's face off. So instead, I'm actually going to share a screen.
I'm here.
Respect that, JC.
We will be there.
I like it. Now, I've very clearly gone for a Brentford bias here.
Who's the striker?
I've also gone.
He put two. I can't put two.
I did put two, and I've gone for a fit Brentford lineup as well because obviously at the moment we don't have Rico Henry, we don't have Aaron Hickey, so that's I put them in because Rico is just different gravy. He's just one of those players that flies under the radar no matter what, but he has a 9 out of 10 game every single game when he plays, and if he hadn't been injured. This season, he got injured back in September, by the way, with an ACL injury last year. If he hadn't been injured, he would have gone to the Euros. He absolutely would have gone to the Euros, and I'm certain of it.
Sorry to cut you, Craig, but I actually didn't know. I knew there was a release clause time period. I just didn't know when it was. And if it's 5 p.m. today, that is big news for us. Not saying that it means he doesn't go, but at least it's now not just the standard 60 mil.
Yeah, you got to get your money.
Absolutely.
So I have gone for a fit Rico Henry, for a fit Aaron Hickey, and I just think that Mateta had such a good end to last season, didn't he? Where he scored like 13 goals in so many games, like the last 8 games or something like that, wasn't it? He was just on fire. Boom, 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 boom. Mateta's in the room. I love that chant, by the way. I think that's fantastic.
I don't think Newcastle like it too much, though.
So, yeah, do you know what? I have to stay true to myself and stick with my club and put Ivan Toney up front because, as well, he's just the main man as well for us. But I apologise to the Palace fans for the lack of Palace players. But in my defence, Rich told me there only needed to be 3.
He's got
At
4 in there,
least
to be
3,
fair.
but we got 4.
And I've
we
got 4
in
anyway.
there.
I think if we're doing this as a fully fit 11, I think it's criminal to leave out certain players.
Go
Like
on,
Adam
I'm
Wharton.
curious as to see now. Funnily enough, now I'm gonna call Mike out on this one. Mike is the other member of the Eden Road podcast as well. I actually had Adam Wharton ahead of Decore, and he said change it to Decore, which is why I did. So my first screenshot when I did the teams,
I'm not
Wharton.
mad at Decore. I'm saying
Nope.
Carvalho for Wharton and have Decore and Wharton. Because
I
Decore
can't have a full Palace midfield.
It has to be done. It has to be done.
Well, to be fair, I've got a full Brentford attack, so I could have definitely gone a full
There you
Palace midfield. So I'll hold my hands up to that one. I wanted Adam Wharton in there as well.
Absolutely. Whilst JC's tweaking, this is basically how what we do is we see like, how we would do it compared to what you've done. I'm not saying your squad's good as well, by the way. It's a nice balanced team. I will say that we've had some mares in the past when people have done them. You know, let's talk about Aaron Hickey, because you know with the Rico Henry and Mitchell one, I think if it's fully fit, I'll give you Rico Henry because he's unreal. Like every time we've been at Selhurst, like we'll come out of that. I'm just saying they're fullbacks. Yeah. Now, Hickey has made every one of our combined 11s up until we signed a certain Daniel Munoz.
Then again, though, every team's right back got in, got into our predicted 11 until we got Daniel Munoz. To be fair,
well, fun fact for you. We have played, I believe, 70. I think I saw 76 games or 70. I'm gonna have to fact check myself on this one because we come across this stat earlier on, which was players which have missed certain amount of games through injury. I think we're on about 72 games, and he has missed 36 games through injury. So he's one of those players as well.
It's such a shame. Like I said, at the time, I think it was under Vieira, we were saying, and this is no disrespect to Tyreek Mitchell, but we said if we had Brentford's fullbacks, we're making Europe. That's how highly we rated Hickey and Rico Henry. Like seeing them at Selhurst Park, they were just doing that all game.
Oh, absolutely.
It was crazy.
You can see why Man City wanted to buy Hickey for 30 million a few years ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, Hickey's been out since October last year. And he went out because of a hamstring strain, and he's been out for what's that? 10 months. How are you out for 10 months with a hamstring strain? We've got Harold Shipman in our medical team. That's why we've had so many bloody injury problems.
Well, we've just got our own very, very own injury-prone player, or number 2. Because I don't know, do we still have Nathan Ferguson in our books?
No, he got released.
No, he got released. Well, now we've got Mateus França, who can't seem to get any luck with injuries.
Oh, interesting. Franco Ume starts for the youth today, so he's not going to be in the squad for Sunday.
Yeah.
We've got Josh Da Silva as well. And to be fair, if Josh Da Silva had a full preseason where he stayed fit, I would probably have him in that midfield as well because he is just fantastic. He's one of those players that no matter what happens when he picks the ball up, you just know that something special is going to happen. He's absolutely fantastic. Yet he is our player that can never stay fit. He was injured at the start of last season, came back, played against Fulham, and tore his hamstring. So he's just so unfortunate with injuries, but he's an incredible player. Left foot of pure gold.
He is a good player. I think he came on against us once. I don't know if he scored or he assisted, but he gave a few problems.
Yeah. He does it every time. He's a brilliant player, brilliant player, but can never stay fit. It's unfortunate for him.
No, indeed. All right, JC, let's quickly dissect this, and then we'll talk about Sunday's game in more depth. We're going to go Munoz, aren't we?
I think that's a silly question there.
I have to always answer as a hypothetical so I don't sound biased.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Don't worry, I went full bias beforehand anyway. Oh, I'm not sure I agree with this one. You taking Ethan Pinnock out.
It's going to be Joachim, innit? Yeah.
Well, your manager wants him desperately, and he has done for a few years.
Yeah. I think that last summer was when we tried, didn't we? We put in a bid for him, but it just kind of never came to fruition, that one. It's just Ethan Pinnock is one of those players that if you have a look at his game-by-game stats, season-by-season stats, he wins everything. I think up until the point he got injured, he had the most defensive clearances. He'd won the most headers. He'd won the most aerial duels. He is just an incredible defender. But unfortunately, he, like every other player in our squad last season, had his injury problems. Came back against Luton, scored in his first game back as a defender, and we just looked so much better with him in the team.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. That's one. I'll fight that one. I'll fight that one tooth and nail.
Because who is it? Is it Nathan Collins or is it Ben Mee?
Nathan Collins played the majority because Ben Mee, like everyone else, had his injury problems. He broke his ankle away at West Ham. Broke his ankle, carried on playing, and then ended up going off. But he was out. So our main centre backs for last season, we had Ethan Pinnock, Nathan Collins, Christopher Ayer, Ben Mee, and Zanka. Zanka scored the best goal I've ever seen in football. People watching, all you need to do is watch our highlights from the Aston Villa away game where we drew 3-3. What he's done is he's swung his right foot to put it in the bottom corner, missed the ball. It has gone behind his leg, hit his left standing leg, and just dropped into the bottom corner. It's the best goal I've ever seen live, and nothing will ever top it. So if you want to, I don't know how that didn't win the Pushkas Award, by the way. I don't know how it didn't win.
Fairs. This is a decent side, actually. I mean, Shardov, he scored a mad goal against us at the GTEC last year.
Yeah.
I mean,
I blame Ward for that.
Sharda was the last one. Obviously, Kamada hasn't actually played.
Now, yeah.
Kamada hasn't actually played a proper league game for Palace yet. However, you see what he's done for Frankfurt. He's won the Europa League. You see what he's done for Lazio. He's done a madness there, and he sort of plays in that kind of position for us. Obviously, I don't watch Sharda every week, and I haven't really watched much of Kamada until he signed for us. All I do know is that Sharda scored a banger against us at your stadium last year.
He did, and then got injured.
And then got injured.
And didn't play for the majority of the rest of the season. So he tore his abductor, which is obviously one of the muscles which connects your bottom half to your top half of your body. Tore it, warming up for a game, which is good. So he wasn't even playing. He did it in the warm-up, took a shot, and it went, and he was out for months. But he's just... I trust him to beat a player every time he gets the ball. Every time he gets the ball at his feet, no one's going to catch him when he's running at full pace. And that shows with the goal that he scored against Wolfsburg, where Ivan's done a great dummy. He's run onto the ball. The defender's not going to catch him, and he slots it into the bottom corner. I just think that there's so much more to his game that we haven't actually seen yet, which is why I put him in there, because he's got a very high ceiling. He just actually hasn't hit that ceiling yet.
Okay. That's fair. I think he's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a very good player.
And then you've got the battle between the tuck-in shirt merchant versus the I don't want to be here merchant. But they're the same price on FPL, so we'll leave that to you guys.
They're very similar players when you think about it.
What?
But,
are you sure?
Tony's better.
Just one wants to play for his club and the other doesn't.
I mean, you've got one that knows how to run properly with the ball, and the other one which runs like Bambi.
The problem is I still don't know which one you're talking about, because I've watched that plenty this season.
Right. From your perspective, how do you see Sunday's game going?
I was sending in a draw, mate. Put your money on it. It's ending in a draw. I don't think we've had a result at the GTEC while we've been in the Premier League against Palace that hasn't finished as a draw. I think we had 0-0, 1-1, 1-1. And I fully expect it to finish a draw as well. So I expect it to finish a draw. I would love to start the season off with a win. And I think that offensively, do you know what, I'll put it actually pretty bluntly. To win, we've got to outscore you because we're not going to out defend you. So to beat you, I know that's how football works anyway, but we just need to score more goals than you because we're not going to keep you out of ours.
And just on that, I'm going to assume that the midfield battle is going to be quite key in this.
Yes.
Do you see yourself as a team that plays better on like the counter attack or trying to control play?
Well, I mean, it kind of depends the opposition that we're playing against, doesn't it? And that goes for every team in the Premier League, because if we're being realistic here as Palace fans, as Brentford fans, we're not going to necessarily control the game against Man City, against Liverpool. They're where they are teams that we're going to try and catch on the counter attack. And, you know, we did it. We beat City 2-1 at their place, and it's like one of the last games that they lost up there. So we know that we can do it. But I think that we're very adaptable based on the position that we're put in and the opposition that we're put against. It just kind of depends on the game, doesn't it? But I see the midfield being a big factor in this game, and I think that if Norgard can have a good game, if Jensen can have a good game, every Brentford fan knows what Matthias Jensen could do when he's got the ball at his feet. The problem is we don't see it as frequently as we'd like to as Brentford fans. And obviously, where does Fabio Carvalho slot in now? Because he's an attacking midfielder, which can also play across the front line. Where does he fit in? We are unsure as to what formation we're going to play to even try and to accommodate him. Because in his press conferences, Thomas Franks mentioned 3 or 4 different formations that we could play. So when Palace say they don't know what they're coming up against, we don't know what we're putting out either. So it's going to be a surprise for all, I think, this Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to you guys, a manager who can play multiple positions and formations, I don't see it as a bad thing.
No.
Like, Gladstone's come in and he's done the same with us. He started off with a 4-3-3 and then went, ripped it up. We're going 3-5, 3-4-1-2. And since then, that's what we've been playing.
Yeah.
You know, I think for us, the key, I think it's also going to be that midfield battle, because both teams will score.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That's a guarantee.
Absolutely.
How many is just a question on the defenses, you know. But I think, see, personally, I would actually prefer you to have a bit more of the ball, because I think you're more dangerous on the break. That's just my personal opinion. And if there's any defender in our backline, if the 5, so you've got Mitchell, Gay, Anderson, Richards, and Munoz. If there's anyone that I'm most worried about getting caught out of position in a transition period, it's Chris Richards. He's the one player that sometimes he either and I don't mind this, sometimes he goes and he presses and he attacks the ball really, but he then gets rolled at times.
Yeah.
And it happened against Nantes in our friendly last week. He got rolled and he couldn't recover. You know, and that's...
Which side is he? Is he a left side or a right side? Because I imagine Gurhey's in the middle and Anderson's one side, or is Anderson in the middle?
Anderson's in the middle.
Yeah, Anderson's in the middle. And then it's funny because Richards is a right-footed centre-back, so you'd think he plays on the right. But his position is right-sided centre-back, but he plays better on the left.
Yeah.
Which is really strange.
On that left side, it means that he'll be coming up against like Brian and Buemo, which
he's going to be playing on the right against us, for us, sorry. And Gay will be on the left.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, Brian, anyone that kind of comes up against Brian and Buemo, I also trust him to beat them, because the way that he can just control the ball and manipulate the play, he's a fantastic player. And I'm so surprised that we've kept a hold of him for as long as we have. And I see this being his last season in a Brentford shirt. Mm-hmm. I think he gets a big move next summer if he does.
I mean, it was only a few years ago. I think when you guys were in the Championship, I think we wanted Ben Rama, but I think last minute we switched to Mbeumo, but then we couldn't actually get the deal over the line.
Oh, I'm bloody glad that didn't happen, I'll tell you that. Yeah,
But then we got Elite instead. So
That's the thing.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win for everyone. Then it's a win-win for everyone. But yeah, he's one of those players. So funnily enough, we talk about it as Brentford fans a lot. Last season, I know I keep mentioning it, and apologies to you that we had the injury problems that we had last season. But he was the injury that broke the camel's back. Brighton away, just an innocuous situation. He's running with a ball, rolls his ankle, and he's out for 3 months. It was a nothing. Nothing happened. He just rolled his ankle. No one was anywhere near him, and he's out for months.
Then can we have you, Craig, join us in hating Brighton then?
Oh well, funnily enough, yes.
So
I
know about this one.
lovely.
Brentford and Brighton actually hate each other because I think their owners used to work at the same company or something like that.
Matthew
And they had
Evans,
beef
Tony
at their
Bloom.
company. Tony Bloom and whoever
Matthew
Brentford's
Benham.
owner is, they had beef in the workplace.
Love it. Then
Plus
you know
their
what?
fans are just insufferable.
Oh, thank you. With their clappers, and they think that they're
and for some reason they decided they fancied a bit of trouble outside their ground a couple of years ago. It was like a Boxing Day game, and it was literally just a few of us walking down, and they were trying to give it large, and just making a fool of themselves. Typical.
silly club. These fans they support 2 Premier League teams, by the way.
Brighton and
The
Hove.
majority of them.
No, it's
normally
Brighton and Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Yeah. So it is what it is. JC, how you see the game going? Before we do score predictions and wrap up.
I mean, the game is going to be very end-to-end because under Glasner, we've transitioned from a team that likes to muck around with the ball to a team that likes to be extremely direct and break with a lot of pace. But I do fear the press of Brentford because in our new formation, granted it's 3-4-2-1, but in reality it's only 2 in midfield because 2 of the midfielders are wing backs. They're just up so high, and we've seen it when we've conceded goals last season and when we've conceded goals in preseason this year, that if we muck around on the ball too much or the ball gets intercepted, because there's only 2 people in midfield, if the midfielder loses the ball, that no one else is there to pick up the space and to pick up the players, because the other midfielder that's not on the ball will move to make space. They won't move to be in a position to defend. They'll move to make space. And if the ball's intercepted, and then you've got a team like Brentford that can break and counter-attack extremely efficiently, it's literally going to be their front 3 attackers versus our 3 centre-backs, because the midfielders just can't get back in time because they're caught out of possession. So we are very vulnerable in that transition. So I do believe it will be very end-to-end. But as Craig said here, it really depends on who scores more. Granted, I'm sounding like Michael Owen here because you know what I mean. But I think it does depend on the strikers. This game really depends on the strikers. I think we're pretty evenly matched at the back. I do think that they've got an edge in midfield because they'll have more players than us. That's why I do think that there will be times in this game where we'll misplace a pass and they'll be on the break. But it's just how many times do we mess up, and how many times do we allow them to run with the ball without making any challenges? And to me, I'm not sure. It's the first game of the season as well, so who knows what will happen.
This is it. And on that note, I think what we need to do is utilize our wing backs, because we're going to have to push Brentford back.
And also,
as
if
much
we
as
press,
Wharton and Hughes are really decent on the ball and stuff, don't forget we still got Lerman, we've got Czech as well. But those passes to Munoz and Mitchell, that's where we get our joy, I think. And Anderson's going to be key to that.
But if you want a tactical breakdown, I'd suggest go and watching Tactical from the other day.
That was great.
Because Rich stole a few things that I said on there to bring it into here, like the Chris Richards thing.
No, but I've always said that. Like, I'd rather, and this is no disrespect to Richards, but Chaddy Riyad is just so much more relaxed at the back. Because if you're talking about Chris Richards on the left centre back, then I'll be like, yeah, cool. But as a right-sided centre back, he He makes me nervous.
I still can't believe that someone can pass better with their weak foot.
It's mad. I don't get it. I don't get it. Score predictions. Craig, obviously, thank you for obviously sending your score predictions like for the whole 10 predictions. Here's the reason why, by the way. We normally always wait to tell people. So, I don't know if we've got the guest league here. Yeah. So, we have the guest league, and this was the end of last season. All right.
Okay.
So, James is a Spurs fan. He got a total of 11 points. Basically, if you get the correct score, so if you said it's 2-1 Brentford, and if it is 2-1 Brentford, you get 3 points for that. If you said 2-1 Brentford and it was 1-0 Brentford, so you got the correct result, then it's 1 point.
Gotcha.
The person who finished bottom, and now this was actually, it was crazy how this works at the end of last season. Dan and Dave were bottom. So we got them to do another one in the last game of the season. They both finished with the same scores. So Dave ended up doing a forfeit. So no pressure. You got to set the standard. I will say anything from about 5 points, you're fine. Because someone will get 3 in the season.
Perfect.
Someone will stink the place out.
Someone will stink the place out. So I'll say 5
And also,
up,
we had a Man City fan a few years ago get 2 points.
Yeah.
How do you get it so wrong? Well, the problem is it's the first game of the season. Anything could literally happen in this game, and I've
That's
probably
a
got
good
the
point,
worst
actually.
game week to have to do it.
Yeah. I guess the key to it is just getting the correct results as opposed to the scoreline. So saying Liverpool will be Ipswich, or those where you accumulate your points, I'd say. As such. But what is your score prediction for Brentford Palace? You did say it's going to be a draw, but what's your score?
So if we go ahead and heart, my head says it's going to be 1-1 or 2-2, but my heart says we nick it and we finally beat you at the G-Tech like 3-2 or 4-3, because there's going to be a lot of goals. I don't see it being 1-0. I think 3-2, 4-3, like a lot of goals. A bit of entertainment to start the season.
Yeah, JC.
I'm going 2-1. Obviously, can't pick the boys to lose in the first game of the season.
Yeah, I would 2-1 Palace too.
I've just got a feeling.
I'm nervous.
Granted, I'm probably going to eat my words, but I'm still feeling the hype from last season. I really am. And the fact that, granted, we've lost Michael, but
he's the only one we've lost.
Yeah, and I think that if you're going to lose someone, a forward is probably not the worst thing to do. That's probably one of the easier places to replace a player. But the fact that we've gone unbeaten for the last 7 games of last season, and I know you can't take anything out of preseason, I know this, but we're still unbeaten even through preseason as well, and we played very well against Premier League sides as well. So it weren't just French teams and Crawley and these man. We actually played West Ham and Wolves as well, who were both very good teams, and they had their first 11 out there, and we still beat them with like half of our team. So I'm feeling very confident, and honestly, anything Oliver Glasner says at this point, I believe him. Genuinely.
Yeah, I mean, on the back of what you just said there, if this was game number 2 or 3, I'm like saying 3-1 Palace, 4-1. But that first game of the season, no matter what team you are, there's gonna be a shock somewhere. There is. It always happens, and that's why I'm just like, oh man, that's why I'm so nervous. I
think
if we draw, I'm happy. I am happy with a draw. Just don't lose your first game of the season. That's always been my rule. So even like last season, Sheffield United away, 1-0, didn't care.
Our biggest problem at the start of the season, I'm just want to get our fixtures up here, is our away games. So when you talk about that saying must win your home games, that has never been more important for Brentford when our first 4 away games are Liverpool away, Man City away, Spurs away, United away. So those are our first 4 away games. And our first 4 home games are Palace, Southampton, I think Ipswich, West Ham Wolves or something like that. Yeah, West Ham Wolves, and then Ipswich. So
Okay, so yeah, those home games are
yeah,
key.
you talk about importance of home games when our first 4 away are those. Gosh, yeah, it's not looking good for away from home, but we've been known to surprise teams away from home. You know, we do Chelsea every year. We play them there. We've done City at their place. We beat United 4-0 at home a couple of years ago. So we know we've got a performance in us. It's just and I always find that playing teams earlier in the season when they're a bit unsettled and they haven't got into the flow of things is the best. I am worried about Liverpool, given it's Arne Slot's first game at home in the Premier League. That's the one that's worrying me the most.
Absolutely. Jesse, let's go through the last few comments. I think there was
Colin
quite a
says
few.
4-1 or 3-1 Palace. Mitch says heavens mean it'll be a draw.
Absolutely.
Come on, Fulham, but just for tonight.
Never.
Big out the dog. I was looking through the fantasy, and there's someone in our fantasy called Malcolm Ebue. I guarantee it's this guy.
Absolutely.
There's no way the Malcolm's really in there. It's this guy. Do you see the Bobby news? Yep,
Yeah,
his
that's related to
his
the 5 p.m.
release clause of £60 million expired at 5 o'clock. So if we're keeping him, might as well keep Mark. That's what I'm saying.
Why not?
Do you think you can reject 65 million? You can turn that down, or
that's what we want? We want 65 up front.
right?
Yeah, because they want to do it in installments or 50 with 15 add-ons. We want it now, basically.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
And that's why, like I said, the Maxence Lacroix, the Odion Kosuna were already doing work in case it happens. I mean, it will be an absolute masterstroke. Pause, just in case. If we kept Mark and still brought in a Maxence Lacroix.
Yeah, because then our backups would be Riyadh, Richards, and
it'll be so much better
Klein.
Because Ward, Klein, and not just Klein's been okay, but Ward, Holding. Oh.
Also, this is off topic. How the hell did he scam his way to the number 4? That number's too low for him. That number's too prestigious for someone like Rob Holding.
I'm hoping that's just a way for another club to say, "Oh, look, he's the number 4. Sign him." Right, let's wrap up. And big up to Agent Ancelotti, Everton fan. I don't think we're finishing beneath you. Just out of question and random links with Dominic Calvert-Lewin today. Don't ask me why, but if he wants to sit on our bench, that's fine.
If Textor and Parrish didn't have generational beef, we would genuinely have Ryan Cherky.
Right now. But yeah, it is what it is. Textor will be at Everton by January, I'll say. And I think that is it. Okay, so Newcastle moving to other targets. Good. Game's the game. All right, we're going to give you a full platform, Greg. Shout out your podcast.
Oh God, you're going to put me on the spot right now, aren't you? Yes. Please do drop a like on the video for Rich and JC here, but give us a follow on our socials. On Twitter, we are at the Ealing Road, and on Instagram, we are at Ealing Road Pod. We do a lot of content around Brentford, obviously, and we get a lot of special guests on. Like we've had Emiliano Marcondes, who scored the winning goal of the playoffs in 2019 when we got promoted to the Premier League. So we'd like to get some special guests on. So please do drop us a like, drop us a follow, and subscribe if you can. And up the bees.
There you go, sir. I was thinking, what the press again? All right, JC. I may or may not swing by your house for the game. May or may not.
Yeah.
There is not going to be a watch along.
Yeah. This is going to be a public announcement for everyone watching the channel right now. There will not be a watch along. And I'll tell you why. We are cursed with watch alongs. If we do a watch along, we will lose. So I'm not doing a watch along. No way. However, we will do I'll record ourselves doing fan cams and stuff after, so you still have stuff to watch. Don't you worry about that. But there's not going to be a watch along. No way.
We will be there, boys.
There will be a watch along for a team that we don't expect to win. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Actually, no. We didn't expect to beat Liverpool. We beat Liverpool. We didn't watch along then either.
We didn't expect to beat City and we drew them.
Yeah, you know what? Scrap watch along, bruv. Find it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Big up Craig. Go subscribe to this channel.
Absolutely.
Big up all you man in the chat. Like, share, subscribe, and always at the Palace.
Eagles.